From diving deep into the Iron Throne's creation history, to talks of expanding the fantastical universe of GOT into an MCU-esque experience, here's everything we know about the new Game of Thrones prequel.
There is more. Aegon has been crowned as his successor.
They crowned him.
It's going to be all about one of the most important events in the history of Westeros, Aegon Targaryen I's conquest of the Seven Kingdoms. Now, if you aren't familiar with Aegon's story, I've got you covered. He was a dragon lord from Valyria who was determined to take over all the Seven Kingdoms of Westeros. With the help of his sisters Rhaenys and Visenya, he rode his dragons into battle against the Seven Kingdoms, which is what ultimately led to a period of war and bloodshed that changed the course of history. The new Game of Thrones prequel series that's coming up is all set to explore the story of Aegon's conquest, as well as the establishment of the Targaryen dynasty as the ruling family of Westeros. Essentially, the story that came before the one that House of the Dragon started with. The show will dive deep into the political intrigue, battles, and power struggles that ultimately led to the creation of the Iron Throne, as well as the rise of the Targaryens. But you've got many fans questioning why we need this story now, especially after we already know how the whole thing turns out. But here's the thing, no matter how you've gotten into George R.R. Martin's world of ice and fire, Aegon the Conqueror and his conquest are always at the forefront of the story. He's been referenced over and over again in both stories, Game of Thrones as well as House of the Dragon. Balerion, the Black Dread's skull, has been seen resting ominously in King's Landing in not one but both series.
Balerion the Dread, the beast that Aegon rode across the sea. His flames forged the Iron Throne and brought the Seven Kingdoms to heel. Powerful.
And now we're finally seeing its true purpose being revealed in the overarching storyline. You've also got the Iron Throne itself, a long-standing legacy of the three Targaryens who transformed the face of the Seven Kingdoms all those years ago. Luckily for fans, Martin's Fire and Blood and the world of Ice and Fire have thoroughly documented Aegon's exploits, and that's where this new prequel comes in. Also, as great as House of the Dragon was in explaining how the Dance of the Dragons unfolded, it felt like a bit of a strange place to start the Targaryen-based spin-off show. All the intrigue and suspense in the court, coupled with the bloody conflicts, they're enjoyable, sure, but there are always a bunch of allusions to Aegon thrown in there as well, which leaves fans wondering, why didn't they just add that story to the show? Sure, the dance is important, but viewers never got the chance to see the events that made the Seven Kingdoms what they are. As far as spicy family and political drama and violence go, the time period covering Aegon's conquest is filled to the brim with those moments too. That being said, it may actually be a good thing that HBO didn't include Aegon's conquest in House of the Dragon. If they had, they wouldn't have been able to get into the whole thing completely. The war went on for so long and was so complicated that it would be difficult to cover that in the episodes we did see in the series. Just imagine it, Aenar Targaryen and his entire family uprooting their lives in Valyria and moving to Dragonstone, all because of a prophecy of death and destruction. 12 years later, the doom of Valyria brings that prophecy to fruition and wipes away the 5,000-year-old city the Targaryens decided to evacuate. After battling in Essos, a young Aegon Targaryen returns to Dragonstone and engages in battle with King Harren, aka the Black Whore, ruler of the Riverlands and the Iron Islands, as well as the Lord of Harrenhal. That's when history is made in one single moment as Aegon decides to take control of Westeros and make sure that all the Seven Kingdoms bow down before one king. That's when all hell breaks loose as the most crucial moments in Westeros' history unfold. I won't get into everything that goes down after that for those who aren't familiar with the story yet, but trust me when I say, a series tackling that story will not disappoint. And that's not all. Rumors are flying around about a whole feature film in development, one that will focus on the story of Aegon I. It certainly seems like HBO is going all in on this aspect of the Game of Thrones universe. As of now, HBO is on the lookout for a writer to bring this epic tale to life. Finding the right writer for a project of this scale is crucial, because they need to capture the same level of suspense, intrigue, and drama, everything that turned Game of Thrones into the cultural phenomenon that it is today. With the wrong person leading the project, things could very easily go awry. Considering that a prequel like this has the potential to be just as engaging and captivating as the original series, they need to make sure they hire someone qualified for the job. But for now, let's get back to the plot. Aegon's conquest is a fascinating story that's ripe for exploration. It was a time of chaos and war, as the Seven Kingdoms fought brutally for control of Westeros. Aegon's use of dragons in battle was a game changer, and his success paved the way for the Targaryen dynasty to rule the Seven Kingdoms for centuries to come. But it wasn't just a simple case of military expertise that led to Aegon's victory, and the series plans on exploring just that. It will delve into the complex relationships between the various kingdoms, the alliances that were formed and broken, as well as the political mechanisms that helped shape the course of history. It's a tale filled with betrayal, greed, and epic battles that will leave fans on the edge of their seats. Other than that, there's yet another Game of Thrones spin-off in the works, and it's going to follow a fan-favorite character. This is more of a sequel and is going to be based on none other than Kit Harington's much-loved character Jon Snow. It was confirmed that the idea came from Harington himself, who seems pretty excited to get back into the role that boosted him to fame. It's understandable, considering the massive fan base and huge success of the original series, that they want to make more spin-offs. And I'm glad that the makers are dedicated to producing the best ideas that they think fans will want to relish. Aegon and Jon Snow's stories were two of the most interesting ones we could have asked for. A few other rumored spin-offs include Dunk and Egg, The Sea Snake, 10,000 Ships, The Golden Empire, and Blood Moon. We still don't know whether any of these last few are going to be greenlit anytime soon, apart from the first one. Dunk and Egg are definitely headed over to HBO, but without their names in the title, surprisingly enough. The beloved duo's story was told in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, The Hedge Knight, a book released by Martin himself, and the show plans on using the same title. Apparently, they didn't use the characters' names because not everyone is familiar with them, and clearly the name they are going with is a lot more intriguing for those kinds of fans. According to Martin, the pilot is already written and the rest of the scripts are in the works. But let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. The show is still a long way from shooting. Here's what you've got to look forward to while you wait. The second season of House of the Dragon is coming up. It's going to be a continuation of where season 1 left off. Which will lead up to a Targaryen civil war that will inevitably plunge Westeros into complete chaos. Also, with plans for a feature film also being made, HBO may continue to turn Game of Thrones into a universe similar to the MCU. How exciting would that be? Fans would get to enjoy all the stories from Martin's books on the screen, and get so much backstory for all the characters and different houses. Well, that's everything you needed to know about the new Game of Thrones prequels.